Hi, I'm James Muir, and this is a screencast for Make More Noise. I finally got around to installing my copy of Logic 9, and we're going to do a few tutorials having a look through the new features. So, as you can see on the screen, I'm just creating an empty project and a stereo audio track. And if we have a quick look up here about Logic Pro, here's our copy of Logic Pro 9. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in an audio file. So this is not going to be an Apple loop or a Rex file. This is just a standard audio file. So what I need to do is just browse back to the top level of my system. And then on my samples drive, I've got a big folder full of loops, and we'll use one from the BT set. As you can see, our session tempo is set to 120 BPM. So I'm going to pull in one that matches the session tempo for now. Let's have a quick look and just choose one. That's a bit noisy. Let's find something a little bit cleaner and tighter sounding. Okay, that'll do. So we can pull that loop in, drag it to the arrange window like normal, and as you can see, we've got a 2-bar loop. So if we put a 2-bar cycle up round it, and we'll just zoom it out a little bit. You have to forgive me, the key commands have changed, so I'm not actually up to speed with what the new key commands are yet. So I'm just going to close down the media browser so we've got a bit more space on the screen. And first thing to have a look at is what happens when we change the tempo. So here's our 120 BPM loop, and we'll change the session tempo to 100 by double clicking and just typing in the value. And as you can see that the loop has got shorter, and our cycle region has stayed the same length. And if we play it along with the click, I'm just going to turn the volume down on the loop a little bit. You should be able to hear it's horrendously out of time. Okay, so there's a number of different ways of changing the tempo of a loop in Logic, but what we're going to have a look at today is a new feature which enables you to convert it into an EXS instrument. So let's reset our session tempo back to 120. And then we can come about this in a number of ways. So we can right click, which brings up this new menu, which has got some more stuff in it than it used to have. And as you can see under the convert menu, we've got convert to new sampler track. You can also pick that up from under the audio menu up here. Nothing selected, so it's not giving us the option. It's grayed out. Convert to new sampler track. Or finally, if you've got a one-click mouse and you hold down Control and click, you'll get the same menu as you did by right-clicking. So let's select the region, right-click, and then we'll do Convert to new sampler track, which brings up a dialog box and gives you a few options. So the first thing is, what do you want to name it? Well, we'll call this BT test loop. And then you've got create zones from regions, which would be if you've selected multiple regions in the same track and you want all of them to appear on one key in the sampler, or transient markers, which is what we're going to use in this example, which will cut by the downbeats and upbeats, the loud and quiet parts of the audio file. So we'll select transient markers. As you can see, it analysed that in real time, and it's going to create 43 zones. And trigger note range, so which key you want it to start and end on. So we'll select a slightly higher key because it's set to C-2. Let's just put it on C2. And now if we click OK, Logic will automatically create an EXS24 sampler instrument from this loop. Okay, so it's now muted the original audio file and created a MIDI loop underneath and loaded up an EXS24 instrument, which as you can see here comes up named BT test loop, which is the name we gave it. And now, because we've got this loop, it should sound the same as the original one. But with the added advantage that if we now change the tempo to 100, you can see that the loop has actually stayed the same length and it's moved with the locators, so it'll now be playing back at a slower tempo. Or if we go the other way, we'll go to 140. So you've created a tempo flexible loop from a loop that was set to a set tempo. Now, the next thing to say about this is it actually opens up even more creative possibilities. So if we open up our MIDI editor, you can now see that we've got, stepping up the screen, each of these samples in slices. So if you click on one of the samples, you can actually hear what samples on each key. So let's use these kick drums as an example, and we'll delete a few samples after it. And we can now copy that MIDI information, and we can actually change the content of the loop. And if we want to do the same in this bar here, we can literally just pick them up. I'm just alt dragging, which is a quick way of copying. And let's have a quick look at the end. A little snare there. Not so sure that sounds good. Let's delete that one and we'll replace it with a kick. So using the convert to EXS sampler instrument function, you can take a loop that's set in time, or you can take vocals you've recorded or any part you've recorded yourself, and you can give yourself flexibility over time, but you can also give yourself flexibility over content. I hope you found that useful. I'm James Muir and this has been a screencast for Make More Noise.